Hello there, Renewable Energy Gang. This is Randall, or Randy, here in Kentucky, and I wanted to make hopefully a short video on the portable, noiseless C-Pap machine. Okay, I'm going to run it through some tests for you. I've been testing this thing for a couple of days, but I built this for a good friend of mine who lives out of state. She will be up to see the wife and myself this Friday, actually, and I'm going to give this to her as a gift. She lives in Middle Tennessee on the plateau, and if you've ever driven through Middle Tennessee, you'll notice a whole lot of very tall, spindly pine trees. I mean, they're very spindly, very tall. They're not even in circumference. They're not even big enough for a telephone pole. But they do provide a lot of shade. And the root system on them is terrible. A good strong wind blows them over. As a result, they have a lot of power outages there in Middle Tennessee. And if you don't have a generator as a backup, you're sort of in a bind. And that's what happened to my friend Judy. Heck, I've known her for years and years. Used to work with her and her husband. Super nice lady. But she uses a C-Pap machine. And as a matter of fact, she sent me the model number. I use the exact same model number. Her C-Pap machine uses 6.67 amps at 12 volts. I believe that equals 80 watts. And to simulate the test, I'm going to use a 60 watt light bulb, only because I didn't have a 75 watt. I have fixed this. Actually, I had two inverters I could have used. I'm going with this little 400 watt modified sine wave. Has two plug-ins at the top with an off and on switch. I also had a 300 watt pure sine wave, but believe it or not, this pure sine wave pulls almost the same amount of amperage as the modified sine. And I'll show you some numbers here in just a second, but we'll get the ball rolling here. I'll get this thing turned on and show you what it can do. But again, this is portable. What I used is a 105 amp hour DECA solar battery. It's a group 31. It's 105 amp hours. But for all practical purposes and to make the math a little easier, let's just say it's 100 amp hours. Well, how many watts are in 100 amp hours? Well, I did a little math on that, and it turns out there is 1,260 watts in a 100 amp hour battery. We all know never drain the battery below 50% unless it's a have-to emergency. Well, half 1,260 comes out to be 630. So we have 630 watts available for the C-Pap machine. I've already calculated some loads on this with the 60 watt light bulb running constantly with the inverter. I'm drawing 6.62 amps. If I multiply that by 8 hours, I get 53 amps. So 53 amps, it'll take my battery down to 50%, and that's what I want. A good night's sleep, you need 8 hours sleep, so this will do it. But you don't have to get a solar battery. Any deep cycle battery will work. You just don't want to put a flooded battery inside the box itself. you don't want the fumes. So, you know, with a deep cycle like, you know, AGM or gel, they're not near as expensive as a solar battery, so, you know, that would be ideal. And the beauty part about this is not only can you use it during a power outage, if you want to go camping overnight and you're stuck to a C-Pap machine like I am, you really can't go camping unless you have, you know, a generator or something along this line. So this is a very inexpensive build that I'm getting ready to show you here that anybody can do. It's very, very simple. I did have to make a modification on the little Go socket power inverter here. It didn't have mounting feet on it. And I'll try and show, I'll add a picture to that. I had to make a modification, take the back side of this thing off and drill some holes. And anyway, it's secure. It's not going anywhere. What I used for the box actually is made by Stanley. This is sold at Walmart. It's actually a toolbox. It's really not that big, but it is perfect for a Group 31 size battery. The top comes off, and the top, you know, is just perfect for a C-Pap machine. You can store your C-Pap machine inside. I'll take the top off. There's two of these clasps on each side. Very lightweight. All right, now let's get into the nuts and bolts. I've already got some meters set up here. Right now my battery is fully charged. I also have this little meter here that gives us hopefully a true reading of the amp draw. So I'm going to put it on the main cable for the inverter. Zero it out so it's setting at 0. Alright. And let's get this ball rolling here. Let me turn him on. The volts went down slightly. Okay, let's see what this 60-watt bulb going through the inverter actually pulls. 5.30 amps. Now if you do some quick math, if you multiply 5.31 times 8, you're going to get over 8 hours. I can't figure that in my head that quick, but you're going to get over 8 hours sleep with it. I also have another little, I had all this stuff on hand, everything but the toolbox. I put a little meter over here. This is just an indicator. It's not it's not accurate, but it's there. Everything that I put on has a inline fuse with it. This has an inline fuse. This has an internal 35 amp fuse, but I put a inline 30 amp fuse in it. I want the inline fuse to blow first if something should go haywire, because this is a booger to take apart and change the fuse that's inside of it. So that's why I used inline fuse. I also used an inline fuse on this, and I'm going to get to this in just a second. But we're looking at our voltage, and you can see it's drawing down. 5.30, and it's going to stay in about that range. I've been testing this thing for actually 2 days off and on, and I have ran it for 8 hours. Now with a 60-watt light bulb and a C-Pap machine, mine uses 8 amps or 6.67 amps times 12 volts is what's on the nomenclature for the power supply. So, it tells me it's 80 amps. But A C-Pap machine will not draw full power 100% of the time. It only pulls it. You normally mine, and I brought mine out here and tested it. Normally, it will stay around 20 to 30 watts, unless unless you if you have a sleeping problem, have to have a C-Pap machine, you quit breathing. That's simple. Some people quit breathing many times every minute. C-Pap machine forces air down your throat. When it forces air down your throat, then it's going to kick it up to 80 watts. But it's not a constant draw. When you start breathing, the amps go back down to 20 or 30. So, this setup right here could easily last 2 nights. 1 night guaranteed. So you will get 1 good night's sleep if you don't have an inverter. If you want to go camping, this is ideal. But the battery itself is, I don't know if you can see the strap in there, but it's strapped in. The battery is secure. It's not going anywhere. It's AGM. You can run this thing upside down. There's no liquid in it to spill. So that's the beauty part of it. I really love it, and I know my friend Judy will. And the best thing of it is it's on wheels. It has a handle, like a big suitcase. But the thing's heavy. I'm talking, the full weight's about 75 pounds. A young boy could pull this thing around with the handle, but as far as lifting it in and out of a vehicle, it would be a little tough for a woman. But it's still going to make a nice gift. And just to show you that I am running a 60-watt light bulb, I have my kilowatt meter. Right now, 134 volts. This is why I hate modified sine. It's not constant. The amp draw off that bulb is 0.57. The watts, 70 watts. Well, we know that's fictitious because we're running a 60-watt bulb, but that's okay. I made allowance for that. Alright. See that thing jump? This is the bad part about a modified sine wave. That's why I do not like them, but you have to get what you can afford, and some people have them, and more power to you. But again, it's whatever you can afford. But the only other thing I haven't showed you is, okay, great, you made her a C-Pap portable machine she can take with her anywhere. If she has a power outage, she doesn't have to worry about sleep for 1 night. How are we going to get that battery charged back up? She doesn't have solar panels. No problem. Inside the toolbox, I have, the only thing in there is, a little thing for tools. I have a small charger, 3/4 amp. I'm going to try and plug this in with one hand. Bear with me. Okay, there we go. Also comes with a 10-foot power cord that just plugs into any outlet to, if her power comes back on the next day, she can charge it up. It'll take 2 or 3 days to charge it, but you'd be surprised. It's a little trickle charger, like you'd use on an automobile or a motorcycle, but it works great, believe me. And, I have a little money in this, but you could easily build one of these yourself for probably under 200 bucks. With a C-Pap machine, You don't want to risk dying. You don't want to sleep in a recliner with your head up. So, or if you like to go camping, you don't have a generator, try one of these. But anyway, this is my video, and I promised Andrew that I would make a video on my portable here. So this is it. Oh, this is the third one of these that I've built. I've already gave 2 of them away. I always keep extra batteries on hand. There's a couple more of the 105 amp solar batteries over there, made by Deca, 105 amp hour group 31s. And I always have plenty of these on hand, any size you can mention. Anything any bigger than this or this would have been overkill. So that's what I have for you. What else? Oh yeah, I did do some horse trading not long ago. I don't have any more room for solar panels in my subdivision, so I had some extra 250 watt solar panels, and I traded 2 of them for a brand new Honeywell 2000 watt generator. This generator is a clone to a Honda 2000i. It's supposed to be a clone. Everything is set up identical. I don't know if I can zoom in or not. If you have a Honda 2000i, let me know if yours looks like this. I was just curious, but I have started this. It's brand new, still under warranty, and that will charge batteries, but I think it's maybe like 10 amps or something like that. But I have the cord that came with it. It's 2,000 watts, and this thing is super quiet. It has the echo mode on it, and it is really quiet. But at any rate, during a power outage, if worst case scenario, we didn't have sun for many, many days, my batteries were depleted, the lights were off, and I could get gasoline. You got to have gasoline on hand in the winter. Or do like Kenny and change all of his to propane, which I'm thinking about doing to this. But Kenny made a good video on that, and I think I might just be going that route with propane, because propane is plentiful and I have plenty of that on hand. But if push comes to shove, what I would do, I just make a suicide cord. One female plugged in here, going to right here on the bottom. Just unplug my inverter up here at the top, 1800 watt. Just unplug it and just backfeed everything. The power would come out the gray wire right there, and it goes back up and it feeds a little box up there. And from there, I don't know what I did with it, but I've got duplexes throughout all the downstairs. I run all my critical loads. I can run my refrigerator's running right now off this, and it's perfect. It keeps everything good and cold, and this is our soft drink machine, if you will, out here. That's about all we use it for, or extra milk. But it also runs the main refrigerator in the house and a bunch of other things. You'd be surprised at what 1800 watts will do. And I'm getting ready to move this inverter up the wall, and you can't see it, but I have, let me get it out of the box. Should have had this ready. Sorry about the shaky video. I have one of these just below here that I can reach. All it is an off and on switch from the battery cables to the inverter. But you really need to have an off and on switch, for emergencies or for maintenance. So I'm going to move this up 6 to 8 inches on the wooden board and move the off and on switch up to where I can get to it easier. And I'm going to rearrange this out here, and I'm going to be adding a second Xantrax out here. And I think I'll just be running the refrigerator and a power cord off this. And I got, one is good, two is better. But anyway, I had it, so I'm gonna mount duals right here. And this will be a backup for me. And both of them have the off and on switches on them. And another little project here I'm working on with a 10-watt solar panel and little PMW charge controller. I love these little things. They work great. Made in China. This is 10 amps, good for 12 or 24 volts, but you can do a lot of projects with these. I have a couple more of these that little things that keep me busy out here. So, and if you have a wood board like I do, you're always changing things, and you wind up with a bunch of holes. Like here, everywhere holes. So I got out here yesterday and did some spackling, and I'm getting ready to do some painting out here with my, white and color paint. I'm gonna repaint everything. I like to keep everything neat and pretty looking out here, as best I can anyway. But one other thing I want to show you too. I'm gonna hold my hand over the front, so bear with me here. Had one of my solar friends stopped in one day last week, and he said, "I have a gift for you." I said, "All right, take me out to dinner. What do you got?" He said, No. I brought you a couple solar panels. So these are brand new Renogy solar panels, 100 watters. I am not too crazy about the 100 watts. For me, bigger is better. So I like 250 watts and up is great. So, but anyway, that's my video, and I did promise Andrew that I would do a video on the C-Pap machine, the portable. Here it is working. You can see it. We're still at 5.53. So you guys have a great day, and weekend's coming up. Get out there and have some fun. This is Randy signing off. Good night.